Yeah, there we go. All righty. So here we are. Good morning, everyone. A few little technical glitches there to start with, but I am here and I am ready to go. Good morning. So if you are joining us this morning, I'll give it a couple minutes for everyone to join. If you are here and you are joining me this morning, just say, I see we have people watching, just write in the box, hi, so we can have a little chat before we start. And this morning we are going to be talking especially to those people doing the OET. And we're going to be talking about an issue that a lot of students struggle with, even students who are really good in their writing, and that is improving your fluency. Okay, so let's give it a minute or so, and then we're going to I'm going to do my usual little presentation on how to improve your fluency. And today's topic will be how to improve your fluency for OET. The whole point of this morning's chat is that there's some things that students do that they think actually really helps their fluency. And it does, but not as much as they think. And there are other things, other little exercises that you can do that actually do work really, really well in improving your fluency. So today we're just going to touch a little bit on those to just kind of give you some teasers, and then you can go on over to our website and find out more. Okay. So I see we have got people watching. Yes, I tend to be very punctual. I live in Germany. When you live here, you get so time conscious, you're very punctilish, as they say. So 8:30 is 8:30. As a matter of fact, 8:30 is 8:25. However, yeah, we know we're operating in the real world where people have their daily lives that get in the way, family and what's not. Well, not get in the way. Their daily lives are their priority. So, yeah. All right. So, on that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right in, since we've already got people checking us out. And my usual approach is I do my quick little presentation, and then I am available if anybody wants to ask questions. Remember, if you're a little shy and you don't want to talk in the live stream, not a problem. You can always leave comments afterwards, and yeah, we will answer them as well. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to screen share with you and yeah, get it started. Now give me a minute. Me and the tech, we tend to have problems, but I'm learning. I'm actually getting a lot better. So first I'm going to screen share with you. Let me close all these extra windows because we don't need. And here we go. Screen share. Good. And now you should be seeing my lovely birds. And now, here we go. There we go. Let's talk about fluency, shall we? Okay. Now, if you're doing OET, you know that fluency is criterion number 2. which means it actually gets some pretty big marks. These are 6 points. I don't have it written here, but it is 6 points that you get for the fluency. And you might wonder, what does OET mean by fluency? Of course, OET doesn't mean that you have to speak like a robot with no pauses. Not at all. What they mean by fluency is if your language comes easily, it comes naturally. And of course, even in natural speech, in your native language, you have pauses because, like me, you hear that I do it. You stop to think a bit before you start to speak. But what the examiners are going to be listening for is what comes after that short pause. If it is a short pause and then you just speak naturally, so tell me about how you have been feeling and so on, then the examiners hear clearly that the reason why you pause is so you can gather your thoughts. Whereas if you pause and then how you feel, and you're trying to form sentences, then it's clear that the reason for your pausing is that you're not comfortable forming sentences and with the language structure. The other thing about pauses is how frequently you do it. Okay. Yes, occasionally pausing, not a problem. But if you're pausing so often that it is slowing down the interview, 2 things are going to happen. One, yes, you're going to lose marks because obviously you're not comfortable in your language. 2, it might hint to the examiner that you actually don't understand the situation, which actually isn't a speaking problem, it's a reading comprehension problem. And 3, you are going to run out of time and not be able to cover all the points or as many of the points as possible on that role play card. So for this reason, these are the kinds of things that they are focusing on in fluency, in addition to the non-verbal hesitancy sounds that people sometimes make, like I just did. But if you do it too often, once again, it's distracting. You know, they spend more time hearing you go, than they hear you conducting a natural, comfortable interview with your patient. So you don't want to be doing that too often. Okay, so let's look at the highlights now of little things that can and cannot improve fluency. Oh, so there we go. Those are the 2 points that I just raised. Another point is your pace. Is it slow or quick? Now, everyone has a different pace of speaking. That's perfectly natural. They do not expect you to suddenly change how quickly and how slowly you naturally speak. They don't. However, again, you don't want to be so slow that the interview is painful to listen to, but you don't want to be talking so quickly then that they can't understand what you're saying. They can't understand your pronunciation. They can't make out your words. Okay. So overall, then, there should be little or no strain on the listener. And in this case, the listener is the examiner. Okay. So what are the best features of fluent speech? Once again, your words are easily understood, no matter how quickly or how slowly you speak. Good pronunciation. Next thing is, please speak in complete sentences. Now on the role play card, the information is in note form, but this is an interview. They expect you, and they are listening for full sentences, good grammar. So you're not going to be speaking to the patient as in, oops, let me just move my big head out the way. You're not going to be speaking to the patient is, so pain, medication. Those aren't sentences. Those are just words that you're throwing at the patient. So full sentences. Not constantly self-correcting. Yes, every now and again, you may need to backtrack and self-correct. English is likely not your first language, so you may say some grammar that's incorrect, or you may mispronounce a word, or like I just did, or you may introduce a technical word and have to explain it. If you have to self-correct, that's fine, as long as you're not doing it for every other word and in every sentence. Because once again, then that means that you are not comfortable with your language. Okay? And you don't ever want the examiner to have this look on their face and be thinking these thoughts. Where are you going with this sentence and how long will it take you to get there? Okay? You want the examiner to have a face like this, okay? To be comfortable listening to you. You want them to hear you stutter, but not so much. So these are some myths here. You cannot stutter at all. And to stutter is to be doing like this, to be people stutter. It's a speech condition that some people have. You're not going to just stop having it because you're speaking English. Okay? You cannot hesitate at all. Again, that's not true. You cannot self-correct at all. And your grammar must be perfect. Okay? So here we have, this is your examiner, or this is your teacher, and they're going, so let's, or we can try to anyway, do things that help us speak clearly, meaning make us easier to follow so that the conversation keeps going. So here you've got R sounds. Here you've got a little hesitation. Here you've got self-correcting, but it still flows. Okay? So what they're looking for is natural speech patterns, okay? And interruptions that are not too often, okay? I remember that this examiner is only hearing you and has listened to dozens of audios. And this is something I always emphasize to my students. The person who is listening to your audio, they don't hear you, they don't see you, they only hear you. They only hear you, okay? And they have listened and will continue to listen to dozens of audios in the same day, okay? They're human beings. They get tired. They have headaches. Subconsciously, yes, they are trained, but they may compare you to others, okay? So what you want is to put your best performance on that audio. And please remember, the interlocutor, the person who's doing the role play with you, is not your examiner. They have absolutely no say, none, in your final mark. Let me repeat that. The interlocutor doing the exam with you has absolutely no say, none, in your final mark. They don't even know who the examiner is. Okay, the people at OET don't even know who the examiner marking your specific paper is. All right, so whatever the interlocutor says to you about your performance, I'm sorry to say this, ignore it. A smile from them doesn't mean you're doing well, and a frown doesn't mean you're doing badly. What matters is the examiner and what they hear on the audio. Okay, so bottom line, make your audio easy to listen to. All right, okay, so let's look at some of the things that people worry will influence their marks for fluency. And once again, remember, this is 6 marks you get for fluency. You have serious problems saying some sounds because they do not exist in your native language. Naturally, there's some Eastern languages and cultures, and there's certain sounds that just don't exist. Th, L, and so on. It takes practice. You have to practice those sounds that you have difficulty pronouncing because you don't use them in your native language, especially when those words, when that poor pronunciation or that incorrect pronunciation means that in English you can confuse two words, okay? Like navel and level, okay? L. A navel and level are obviously two different words, okay? So in instances like that, unfortunately, you just have to practice. But generally, if you are I would say more than 90% understandable, your pronunciation, because of your native language, is what it is, okay? As is your accent. If you confuse similar sounding words, if you actually, your pronunciation is good and you actually say chair instead of share or vice versa, then yes, this is a problem, okay? If you stutter or cluster your words when you get nervous, it can, because it can affect another part of speaking called intelligibility, how easy it is to understand you. And how do you deal with this? You practice, and there are techniques that you can use to help overcome this problem. If I say like and okay all the time, for some people, that's just a bad habit. Like, okay, like, how do I stop? Practice. Because yes, if you're saying like and okay so much that it distracts from what you're actually saying from the actual interview, yes, it will after a while affect fluency, affect information giving, and therefore affect your grade. Okay, so let's look now at some of the things that candidates often do when they know their fluency is poor, or they need to improve their fluency, and they keep doing these things because they think this is what improves my fluency. First, I call it a myth, learning lots of grammar. Now, you do need to have good grammar to speak correct sentences fluidly, fluently, and to make your listeners understand, are you talking about the present? Are you talking about the past? Are you talking about something that's definite or something that's possible? Are you talking about different conditions where different things happen? Or are you saying this as a fact? All of those points have different grammar constructions in English. So yes, you do need a fairly good basis in grammar to help you in your fluency. However, sitting down, doing grammar exercise after grammar exercise, written grammar exercises especially, and thinking that that alone is going to improve your fluency, no, it won't. The fact is, there are people who do really well in written grammar exercises, and when they come to speak, they still have a problem. So no. Reading lots of books and articles in English and reading quietly in your head. Yes, I see the grammar here. I see the grammar here. I can run through it in my head. But if you're just reading in your head, you can still stumble when you speak. And the other thing is just listening to webinars like this, actually. And the fact is, you can have great listening comprehension. You can right now understand every single thing I say. But when you come to speak or to repeat or to summarize what I have said to someone else, you have problems because your fluency is not there. And why is this? Simple. It is because speaking is controlled by multiple separate parts of your brain. And if you're in healthcare, especially medicine or nursing, you know this. You know about the different areas of the brain that have to do with speech. You know that when people have strokes that affect different parts of the brain, they know what they're looking at you, they know what you're saying, but they cannot speak. And these separate parts of your brain, these the nerve paths between these parts of your brain, they need repeated stimulation in English language so they can work together as one smoothly and without effort. You have got to actually stimulate those specific parts of your brain. Okay? And without that, without stimulating it, in other words, without speaking, your fluency is not going to improve at the rate you need it to improve to do well in your exam. Okay? So what does work? Speak, and speak often about anything. Okay, I say about anything because once again, this is what is going to stimulate those parts of your brain that get accustomed to hearing you speak. Okay, and your brain recognizes the info, forms the idea, and very, very quickly puts those thoughts into words because those pathways are accustomed to firing. Okay. Speak, errors and all. So there's some people, they're shy about speaking because, they worry they'll make errors. I'll let you in on a little secret. Speak, errors and all. Because one, you or others will hear your errors and you can correct them. And then, because you're so accustomed to speaking, you then practice what is correct in your speaking. Read, but with a purpose, okay? Use reading as a way to practice speaking smoothly. And what that means is you don't just sit down and read quietly in your head. Again, that's not really very helpful. Listen to yourself. Now, some of you don't like listening to yourself because you think, oh, I sound horrible. Don't worry about it. We all think we sound horrible on recordings, in recordings. But the fact is, you never sound how you think you sound. Never. So when you speak and you record your voice and you listen back to it, then you can be a bit more objective. What is it about your speech that might hold you back from getting a higher grade? Because you listen and you might go, oh, I didn't realize I did that. Maybe you didn't realize you say okay a lot, didn't you? Maybe you didn't realize your voice drops and becomes very quiet. So you can listen to yourself. And yes, again, having said grammar is not the everything in fluency, improve grammar and vocabulary, but with the right techniques. Don't just learn individual words. Okay? You need to put them in practice. You need to put them in practice, actually speaking. Okay, so that's it. That is my presentation, or not really presentation. Honestly, it was just a little chat today on little tips for improving your fluency. So with our students, we use this as the basis for our teaching them and coaching them when it comes to speaking. It's not just about covering the points on the role play card, but it's about everything. It's about their presentation. It's about how they use their prep time to help with their fluency issues. It's about how they tackle the points, keeping fluency issues in mind. And that is a big part of preparing for your listening. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful to you guys. It's a very short webinar, and I notice what happens is people actually come in at the end and then they go back and listen from the very beginning, which is why I like to do this nice little presentation. So you have something that you can actually study with. Okay, so stop and pause and play and pause and repeat again, so you can take something to heart and hopefully it helps you in your OET study. Okay, So on that note, that is the end of today's 30-minute classroom. It's called a 30-minute classroom for a very specific reason. And yeah, I see some other people have joined us here. I'm here now for a few more minutes. So if you want to ask a question, you can, or as I said, you can go into the chat after the presentation and just write a question. It comes automatically to us, as you know, and we will answer you. Okay. So also today we have got an event coming out. So you want to keep an eye on our channel here on YouTube. There is a fantastic project that we are running from today. And the information is going to be on our channel. It's going to be on our social media, and it is on our website already going. So if you are an OET candidate with OET coming up, check it out. Our August event that we developed just for you. Fantastic opportunity. If you miss it, don't blame us. Okay, guys, so that's it for now. I hope you continue to have a absolutely lovely weekend, and I'll see you next live.